Versus Sabbats has been really popular in the audiophile community, and these are the two most popular Sabbats. This is the X12 Ultra and also the E12 Ultra. Sabbats has been really killing it in the audio community because they're really making great value stuff. Also, as I mentioned in my top 5 best sounding TWS under $50, these are one of my top recommendations. But these two are really close to each other, actually in terms of price also. We're gonna do a head-to-head between the Sabbat X12 Ultra and E12 Ultra. Which one is for you? We're gonna find out. But of course, big thanks to TechShop28 for lending me these two units for this review. Links down below for their shop. Of course, let's look at the specs first. So starting with the E12 Ultra. So of course, the main difference here is this is an in-ear kind of design. But in terms of overall shape, they're quite similar with the Sabbat X12. And of course, with the Sabbat X12 Ultra, you have that kind of EarPods-esque kind of design. So this kind of rests on your ear. Package-wise, they have a slightly different packaging, of course. In the E12, you get the tips right away. Actually, you have a nice selection of tips. From very short tips to long tips and medium to small sizes. Also, of course, get the case and the TWS. And you also get that nice looking case. And also a USB-C cable. X12 Ultra, of course, you get the case and also the TWS. And of course, you don't have tips here because this is an EarPods-esque kind of design. For the Sabbat X12, you get a nice looking case. You also, of course, get some ear hooks, which makes a more stable fit on the ear. And of course, you get a USB-C cable. So in terms of what you get in the box for the price that you're paying for, these are really great packaged products. They didn't skimp on the accessories that they give to you, especially in that $50 price range. A really great value from the package itself. So build-wise, they are frankly almost the same. It's kind of near the AirPods in the overall plastic quality. It has some weight to it and also has that nicely feeling case overall. However, of course, it's not still the same as the AirPods. It has that kind of cheap feeling to it still. Like the latch is a bit wobbly and the plastic is still more hollow compared to the AirPods. But definitely for $50, it definitely is worth the asking price. So not a super duper big issue for me. They still both look really good. I would say they're equal for the build, both also using USB-C, which is nice. So definitely something that you want in 2019. And also another issue is this scratches quite easily. So much like the AirPods, because of that kind of glossy kind of design, it's also plastic in build. This scratches quite easily, so I had this in my bag for around 2 weeks and it already has some scratches, so you might want to have a case for this. Also use the case that is included in the kit. This is the overall fit. The X12 is not a super good fit in the default setting, so it fell off my ear actually during a coffee shop session. So the E12 on the other hand is more stable on the ear because of that in-ear kind of design. However, even if it's better fitting on the ear, it's not as stable as maybe the TRNT 100 with the fins or also the KZE10 with the ear hook. So those are still more stable on the ear. So this is not something that I will use for some running or also active work. However, both have some IPX5 certification for slight sweat or rain protection. However, the X12 has a trick up its sleeve with the ear hooks that's included. However, after using the ear hooks, it's still not super duper stable on my ear because it's just one size of ear hooks. So I find that ear hooks is a bit too big for my ear. So it's still not super duper good for me. So overall, in terms of fit, I would choose the E12 here because of that in-ear kind of design, but again, I wouldn't use it for any running. In terms of ceiling, the X12 being an open design has no ceiling, so you will hear your environment. So for the E12, it's a sealed in-ear design, so if you are gonna use it for a plane and also in the office, you need your sound isolation, you definitely would want to go for the E12. In terms of looks, the X12 looks like an AirPods kind of design. Frankly, for me, it looks a bit off in the whole design grand scheme of things. I do like the overall design of the E12. It feels more right in terms of design. It fits, the overall aesthetic better. But of course, on the ear, when you wear it both, they both look the same. So it might not be a big issue. But overall, for looks, I would go with the E12. Case and battery. So another good thing is both of these are using USB-C. Both have 750 milliamperes of battery in the case, which gives around 24 hours of charge. There's also some magnets in the case, so this definitely feels like a more upscale case in terms of the overall design. So both are similar in the case and battery department. In terms of battery of the lobes, it lasts me around 4 to 5 hours in my actual usage. So of course, it's approximated. It will depend on your volume and how long you use it. So not bad per lobe in terms of the overall time. This matches the AirPods in terms of the battery life. In terms of range, the range is similar, around 5 meters in my actual usage. In terms of pairing, both of these pairs very easily. So just open the case and the pairing starts already. For multi-device pairing, just turn off the Bluetooth from the previous device to start pairing to another device. So when turned on, it will auto pair to the previous device paired. So that's nice. If you just have one device, you won't have any issues with the pairing in both of these. Going back and forth to iOS and Android if you have a multi-device pairing. So pairing to Android is not a big issue. However, when pairing back to iOS, I needed to press the Bluetooth button again and go inside the Bluetooth setting to kind of re-pair again my Sabbat. It's just one click, but it's another click for you if you're using both platforms. Connection stability for both TWS, it works no issues in iOS. So I didn't encounter any disconnection. However, for my Android mid-range tablet, I did encounter an issue where sometimes there's a slight micro stutter in the connection. But this just occurs maybe once in a whole session, maybe a 1 hour to 2 hour session. But again, it doesn't occur that often, so it might not be a big of an issue. But the issue is definitely there. Volume-wise, the X12 goes loud enough. So in my iPhone, it's around 80%. It gets a listenable volume. So the E12, being an in-ear kind of design, only needs 50% of volume for me. So yeah, in terms of volume, the E12 wins here. So for both mics, the sound is similar to each other. So this is the sound test of the E12 Ultra. Definitely is understandable, but it's in the more kind of trebly side, and there's a bit of noise here. During a call, this is quite understandable. So now moving to the X12, it's very similar in terms of the overall sound. There's not a lot of bass, and also the sound is a bit thin. They're both understandable, but definitely not the best mics. The sound overall, both have a slight U-shaped sound. The X12 is more of a clean and tight presentation with that open kind of design. A smaller soundstage and also a more intimate sound, but a more balanced sound though with the X12. The E12 is more of a warmish, more bassy, more fuller sound, and with a bigger stage also. So overall, even if I haven't detailed yet the overall sound, I do like the E12 more in sound. In terms of highs, the X12 has a more extended highs, though more thin highs on top. So like In Your Body is a Wonderland, John Mayer. The cymbals are a bit thin, but it's shimmery though in the X12, but again, it's a bit thin in body. The E12 on the other hand has a fuller bodied highs overall. So the cymbals there in that same track will sound fuller, more thicker in the E12. So overall, I would say better highs for me in the E12 because of that better body overall. Mids-wise, the X12 has a more of a clean presentation in the mids again. It does resolve fairly okay detail. However, for me, the E12 is fuller again overall. The vocals are richer, fuller. So overall, for mids, I do like the E12 more. In terms of bass, the X12 has a more of a tight bass and doesn't go also super deep because of that open kind of design. So usually for open designs, the bass response is a bit less compared to closed designs. So the E12 has a more of a punchy, boomy, dominant bass and also a more forward bass in the mix. So definitely more present in the E12. However, the E12 can be a bit too bassy still. So for those people who doesn't like bass, you might find this too much. However, for bass heads, this is a big yes for you guys. So for me, frankly, I toned down my bass in the E12 via EQ around 3 to 5 dB, and it's kind of a more perfect tuning for me. So overall, I do like the E12 bass more. In terms of soundstage, the E12 has a bigger stage, so the XL having a more open design, actually pretty intimate. So the E12 definitely has a more big stage compared to the X12. However, in the grand scheme of things, the E12 is still kind of a pretty above average to average kind of soundstage, not super duper expansive. Separation-wise, the separation is fairly close, so the X12 has a cleaner sound, though smaller stage. The E12 has a smoother sound, though a bigger stage, so the separation is quite similar between both. Alright, so overall in terms of sounds, if you actually like a clean sound, you might want to go with the X12. So the highs are extended on top. It has a balanced sound overall. However, the sound is a bit thin, but if you kind of like a clean sound overall, and also if you don't like bass, you might want to go with the X12. However, if you want a more kind of smooth, warmish kind of sound, and if you like bass, the E12 is definitely your pick. This can survive for bass heads. So both of these in terms of sound have their pros and cons. It will be kind of up to you what you like in the end. Also in terms of sound for the both of these, and as I mentioned in my sound comparison, in my TWS versus a wired comparison, the sound of these is equal to around $25 in the wired space. So you're kind of paying additional $25, additional half of the price for the convenience and TWS qualities. Right, so verdict. So both of these are really close. Build is right smack with each other. Actually, for value, you can go with either of these and you're getting really great value for your money. Both of them have slight differences. It's just the fit and the overall sound. But personally for me, I am going for the E12. That's a better fit on the ear. I do like the overall signature. It's a more full bodied kind of sound. The bass is substantial also, so I would definitely go for this over the X12. But again, either of these are really great values. I would recommend both of them. It'll be kind of up to you, with the pros and cons to choose which one is for you. So that is my review and also a comparison head-to-head of these two Sabbats. Of course, if you learned something, leave a like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Which one is your pick between the two? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.